Hello, and welcome to For Book's Sake with Heather Roberts.
And Veronica Adams.
And we are 1852 Media, coming to talk about books and the publishing industry. I have to remind ourselves, because Veronica and I were getting into an in-depth conversation before this podcast recording began about non-book related items.
So, we are here to talk about books.
We're here to talk about books. Friendly reminder. No, but for real. So today we wanted to talk about, and we'll see where the conversation takes us, but what to do when everything goes wrong. Or maybe not even everything, but like what to do when something goes wrong in your book publishing journey.
Yes. You experience a crisis along the journey.
Yes.
Which it will happen.
It will.
Everybody has one. Everybody has 5.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It's 27.
If it's happened once, it's happened a million times.
Well, there are so many things along the way that can go wrong that are just completely out of your control. Yeah. So first of all, you do have to have a little bit of luck on your side.
Yes.
And as we've said in previous episodes, for certain things, timing is everything. Mm-hmm. And you can go into making timing choices with the best of intentions and everything still completely fall apart on you. So
yeah, like I made stickers once that were like sorry stickers, like for author specific, and one of them was like, sorry your release day ended up on Prime Day. Like,
I have had that happen. We chose the release day like 8 months in advance, and then Amazon announced Prime Days, and it was like,
oh no. And it's like, why would that be terrible, you may ask? Because Amazon is
nobody's
flooded.
Nobody's buying books on Prime Day.
Yeah, everyone's flooding to Amazon for different deals. They are not flooding for books, especially new release full price books.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's just
I don't pay full price for anything on Prime Days. Do you?
No one wants to. That's
exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, it usually tanks sales. It's terrible.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a terrible timing issue that sometimes you just can't get around. And yeah, I think if we've said it once, we'll say it a million times, and I'll say it again right now. What Veronica was just reiterating is 2 key components or variables to publishing a book that you cannot control and that often have the greatest impact are luck and timing.
Yes.
And you cannot control those. There are certain things then also that you can control, but then become uncontrollable, like Amazon.
Yes.
Theoretically, you should be able to control Amazon. But can you always? No. Sometimes they just decide to cancel your pre-order for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
Literally no reason. You followed every rule, and they will cancel your pre-order and all of the pre-orders that you have. And you can't, spoiler alert, you cannot get those back.
Yeah, once they're gone.
They're gone. So if you had, I don't know, maybe you were having great pre-order numbers, maybe you had 1,000 pre-orders and you are counting on those, right?
Mm-hmm.
Amazon cancels your pre-order. Bye. They're gone. No getting them back. I mean, you can certainly send an email to your newsletter and say, hey, Amazon canceled my pre-orders. Could you go pre-order this book again? And some will. However, not all will. Some people
generally speaking, yes.
Yeah, some may have made an impulse purchase. Some people you may have found you on Amazon, not through your newsletter, not through any, and pre-ordered your book because they read something else and it led to this and that, and they're gone.
Someone may have read your previous book in series and went through the funnel in your back matter, did the pre-order, and then moved on to a completely new series. They've forgotten about you. They're not on your newsletter list, and you have no way to reach them.
Correct. Because it's not like Amazon's going to send another email to the people who pre-ordered your book to say, oh, no, by the way, it's still up. No, they're not going to do that. That's not going to happen. So that is something that happens frequently. So like we were saying, what do you do when that happens? You try to manage that crisis as best as possible. You put the word out that Amazon has canceled my pre-orders. You put that on all of your social medias. You put that in your newsletter multiple times. You send out multiple emails, then not just one, because not everybody opens just one. Mm-hmm. But essentially you're putting out the SOS that this is what happened through no fault of my own, because I guarantee it's not your fault. And you try to manage that crisis as best as possible. If you have someone like Veronica and myself, we can send it out to our newsletters, our internal newsletters. ask influencers and promoters to share the information and cross your fingers and hope for the best.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much what you do.
The takeaway, I think, is, and this is more of like an overarching umbrella concept, I think, that applies to most crises, maybe not all of them, but a vast majority of them, is you have to be prepared to pivot.
Yes.
And also to be as flexible as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you just have to stop and go, this sucks. I'm angry or sad or frustrated, and I will deal with that once I have executed whatever the plan is going to be to salvage this crisis, right?
Yeah.
So you were sharing with me before we started recording that you have recently run into an issue with publishing deadlines and editing being incomplete. You know, I can think of several ways to handle that crisis. I don't know. Do you want to like expound on the situation a little bit in terms of like what your author's facing?
So the author, the book that she received back from the editor, unfortunately, was not a fully edited title.
Okay, so we've got a situation where editor drops the ball.
Yes, and the editor is having a personal family crisis, and that's just stuff that comes up.
That happens. And that happens with all sorts of third-party people that you bring in to help manage small pieces of your brand.
Right. And so, unfortunately, we are now up against release day. She has to upload something, or else she'll get canceled. Right, the title will be canceled, and you don't want Amazon to cancel your pre-order for something you did, right?
Right.
And you also don't want to cancel a pre-order for yourself because Amazon will give you penalties, and the penalty is usually a ban of being able to have a pre-order for up to a year. It's usually a year, which I think is incredibly awful. Like that.
It's excessively punitive.
Yes.
Like
thank you.
What justifies an entire year of having your privileges revoked?
Right. For something usually not even within your control. So,
you know what I'm going to do with that year, Amazon? I'm just going to go to my website, set up my own store, and start selling Kindle direct to Kindle readers.
Yeah. Right. Screw you, dude. So instead of taking down the book or taking down the pre-order, because then you're now exposing yourself to up to a year of punitive liability, essentially, from Amazon. Instead, we're just now soft releasing the book. We've canceled essentially all promo that we could stop. Of the title. She's uploaded the manuscript as it sits. And
the partially edited version.
Yeah. She's not sending out any sort of newsletters or anything like that. And instead, she's now we've found her a new editor, and she will be getting that book properly edited, and she's going to then push that out as soon as humanly possible. And then once she uploads that title, and she's, going to let people know, please don't download this book, like her followers, her newsletter. Please don't purchase this book at this time. It is not ready. It is not done. However, this is the circumstance. And then we're going to, once it is done and up, we will do a new push. She will let everybody know it's time to purchase, etc. I mean, are there so many things that are still bad about that situation? Yes. Terrible. The ranking is going to be impacted probably forever on that particular title.
No, you're not wrong. I mean, the organic visibility at launch sometimes carries a book for years. Not overwhelmingly. I mean, there is a tail at which, ranking starts to slide. I mean, that part is natural, but like where you land and how often you are promoted within the algorithm without any sort of advertising or promotion on your part is definitely based, at least in small part, on how well you rank at launch time.
Now, the other option is, and this is something that she may do, is to unpublish once it's actually live. So once it's live, she then has the choice to unpublish the title and then re-put it back up when she's ready. However, I would suggest re-putting it back up as a live release at that time. And
rather than doing the pre-order process again.
Yes, because we don't want to get stuck into any sort of, vortex there.
Right.
So we'll make that choice, here shortly. But that's where you're at. And so I just want to be clear. There's no like fixing a situation like this where it's all good and everyone's happy. No, it's a managing situation. You're managing
this is crisis management,
the outcomes. It's no real solution is great on all sides.
Right.
There's downsides to all of it.
I've been working with an author who recently had to switch editors. Similar previous editors simply no longer going to continue with their business, not booking new jobs, no longer available for work. Did not really provide the author enough notice for them to get out ahead of that.
So fun.
So a communication issue there, right, on the editor's part. So author scrambles to find a new editor, gets future projects booked in, but now the timeline is all off, right? Like we've had a system, almost an assembly line, if you will, in place. She writes, manuscript goes off to the editor, manuscript comes back from the editor within a specific window of time that allows us to do all of the pre-release promo and everything, right? She's confident in the manuscript. She makes the edits. She does proofing. I get an ARC file for distributing early review copies to promoters and ARC reviewers.
It's all clicking along like on a train on a schedule.
Except now it's not because the new editor cannot fit in the editing work.
You had a cutoff, right? There was a whole cutoff. And it's hilarious. We did not plan this, but there was some massive error message with our recording and it all went wrong.
All right, folks, this is where you listen to and or watch Heather and I take our own advice.
That's right. So we're just managing the crisis and we're going to continue on.
We've had to pivot here just a little bit. And this recording may not be quite as seamless as previous episodes.
Our apologies. We're just going to soldier on.
Oh,
man. So you were saying, Veronica, do you remember?
No, I have. It has been lost to the ether.
You're the editor. The editor took you off track. Yes.
My client who has had to switch editors recently and having the change from the old editor to the new editor has really changed her production schedule because of the new editor's availability. And we've simply had to stop approaching promo the same way for now. Yeah. There is a point of time in the future where we expect to be able to return to the promo schedule and all of the tools that we were using before because we will have the time. But for the last couple of launches and for the next couple of launches, we are still on this abbreviated schedule where we are simply not doing promo the same way because we do not have the time.
Yeah.
The manuscripts aren't coming back as far in advance as they used to. And that's, and
that's okay.
We've had to deal with.
Just how it goes.
Exactly.
I mean, you have to pivot. You have to be flexible. You have to be able to turn on a dime. And that's really, if you have that skill in life, then you will be well suited to this industry because
yes, for sure.
It requires so much pivoting, the ability to just turn on a dime and just, okay, this is a problem. Let me figure it out. Let's find a solution and move forward. Because the more you sit and lament about it, it's just not going to help. It's not going to help the situation. But yeah, I mean, there's situations where you can upload your book and, so for those that don't know, on Amazon specifically, you have to upload a file when you are putting a title up for pre-order. You then have until, X date, which is, before release to upload the actual file, the final file.
A final version, right?
That will be pushed out to readers on release day. Well, it is not uncommon for you to do those things, to follow all the steps, and for Amazon to still push out that original hold file.
Yeah.
And so readers on release day will get a partial something. So be careful with what you upload to that, because usually I recommend just making a hold file with the like blurb and that's it, because you don't want to use an old book, because if it does get pushed out, then it's very confusing.
Or, right, a personal document or something that you just intend to hold the file place for you. Don't do that.
Don't do that. Because they've been known to just push out that original file, even though you have uploaded everything within their timeline, that you've done the things. And that causes a whole kerfluffle as well, because then you start getting emails. You think everything's fine. And then you start getting emails of, what is this? This isn't what I paid for. You start getting returns. You start getting 1-star reviews. It is not good. It is not good. And it's not your fault. That's another,
right,
outside of your control. I mean, there are just many examples like that. Unfortunately, Veronica and I have had moments where Facebook, for example.
I was just about to go there.
Oh my God. I was literally moving. They always pick the worst times to do this to you.
It's never when it's convenient for you.
Never convenient. I was quite literally mid-moving. Veronica was in charge of all the things at the moment. Yes. She was handling the fires. And I get a phone call from her, because I'm not looking at emails, that Facebook just decided to deactivate our ad account.
Yep.
For no reason.
No, we get an occasional quality control warning from them. Like in the past, we have, and this is typical, because it's artificial intelligence that's doing the review process. When you are setting up ads on Facebook, it's a robot that is just scanning your image and the text and your link and deciding whether or not you comply with all of their policies for advertising, right? So in the past, we've had some ads where the robot thought we were violating one policy or another. Most of the time, policy is just completely unrelated to our ads, but occasionally maybe an ad was just a little too sexy or something. It happens. So we've had some quality control flags.
But at that particular moment, we didn't have any flags.
No, none whatsoever.
We had none whatsoever.
Boom, the lights went out and Facebook said, you're done.
And it turns out it wasn't just our account. It was many, many authors' accounts, some of which we also manage.
Yes.
And some which we don't. And so that's why we knew it wasn't us. It was
a system-wide issue with Facebook.
Mm-hmm. And so you can appeal it, and we did appeal it, and we did get the account turned back on. I think it was like within the hour.
It was very fast, yes.
But still, you're scrambling. I'm literally mid-move, and I'm like trying to deal with this. And
active ad campaigns for clients who have engaged our services specifically to run ads for them in this way.
Yeah.
And we are hamstrung from providing this service, and that is having a negative impact on their bottom line, because even if the ad account is down for an hour or two, that's an hour or two that their books aren't being advertised.
That it's not serving. Right.
Right.
So that is not uncommon. That happens. I think that's happened maybe a dozen times, a handful of times. I'd say maybe
clients permanently lose their Facebook ad accounts, though. That has absolutely happened. It's one of the reasons we offer our own ad account up for.
That's also why I have three ad accounts, because you just never know. They could just take. Oh my God. Like, we could not have planned this cluster of a recording any better for this particular episode.
It's like the universe knows that we're talking about crisis management. So it's like, hey, by the way, your recording tech is just going to fail today.
Yeah, it's just not going to work for you. So look, things fail all the time. Technology is only good until it's not.
Yes.
So with that in mind, things fail. It's how you deal with the things that fail that allows you to continue to stay long-term.
Absolutely.
It can be very frustrating. Trust, Veronica and I are not pleased right now. And I'm sure this has been a little jolting for your own listening abilities as well. But, this is just really an example What do you do when everything goes wrong?
Yep.
So what we're going to do is drop in our evergreen marketing tip before this thing cuts out on us again and call it an episode.
Yes. We'll be back next week with something that's hopefully a little more technologically
together.
Yes.
So our evergreen marketing tip for the day is to build relationships, to focus on building long-term relationships with customers rather than just, one-time transactions, because your loyal customers will then talk about your brand, give you referrals, bring in more business to you.
Yes.
For authors specifically, that's talking about your books.
Yep.
So you want to build those relationships with your readers, not just sell to them all the time.
Right.
You want to try to cultivate some sort of a, comfortable parasocial relationship.
Absolutely.
Sometimes those things can get a little out of control, but you do want to engage them and make them feel as if they're valued, because they are valued. Right. Their money is valued.
Look at your relationship as one that doesn't end after the first sale.
Yes.
You want them coming back for more.
Absolutely. So that is your evergreen marketing tip for the day.
Love it.
And Veronica and I are going to cut out of here before it cuts out on us.
Yes.
So thank you. Wild.